What's up, everybody? It is the Golf on CBS preview show. Shane Bacon, Patrick McDonald. We got Claire Rogers coming a little bit later. Of course, always Justin Ray. These stats, man, one of our favorite people in all of golf, will be bringing us little PGA Championship stats. And Patrick, it's major week. You're already at Quail Hollow. You're inside because the weather's not ideal. But I want to, before we get into PGA talk, which I'm assuming will be the majority of this show, I did want to touch a little bit on Truist because I think last week we were talking about the golf course and how excited we were to see the pros play it. I wrote on Twitter, I thought somebody might shoot 58 or 59. And it looked like after the opening round, that was going to be the case. It did not happen, man. That golf course held up. What were your thoughts on Truist and Philly cricket in general?
Oh, it was awesome. I think three things kind of stood out to me. One, the Philly fans who I don't normally agree with, but you got to give them their props for showing out and cheering on the boys. Two, the green complexes were awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Just I thought we saw over the weekend a lot with the worm cam how much break these guys had to play, not only on like 10, 20 footers, but those close ones, Shane, like the 5 footers, ticklers down the hill, having to throw them a cup and a half outside the hole. I mean, that is freaking nerve-wracking, especially when you're playing to win a golf tournament too. And we saw it prove consequential down the stretch with how someone like Justin Thomas putted in the last few holes. And then 3 was just like, man, this golf course would be awesome with just like a few more things going its way. It's already awesome as is, just more for the professional players, right? If they didn't hit it quite as far, if the weather held off, if the wind was like that throughout the week. And so I think it was very close to being just like a easy 10 out of 10 test for these guys. With a few tweaks, you could easily get there.
Yeah, I mean, I think about Trinity Forest, right? When the PGA Tour decided to go down there in Dallas for that, whatever, 4 or 5 year stretch. And it really felt like that first year, it was really hot. There's not a lot of shade on the golf course. I remember I was down there covering it. I think it was PGA Tour Live or something. We were down there covering it on site. My parents came up for a day. My dad was talking about how he was just boiling out there because of the weather. And when you're a new golf course in terms of this ecosystem that is the PGA Tour, I feel like you get one crack at it. You kind of get one week, one week, and it's either it goes well and people love it, or it's a quote unquote bummer for the players, or they don't love the golf course or whatever. And then it just kind of falls out of favor. And for Philly cricket to get this opportunity and to hold up in a signature event, I could see pro golf leaning more into golf courses like this. And I think you nailed it. Like, as somebody that, is a member at a golf course that was designed by Tillinghast, understanding how far out you have to play 4 and 5 footers on a day-to-day basis around the golf course that I play, seeing the pros have to do that and then struggle with it is a lot of fun, because it just adds an element. When you hear players go to certain golf courses and they talk about, no movement on the greens and how, just kind of aim in the middle of the fairway, middle of green, whatever the case may be, it felt like the thinking had to continue for 4.5, 5 hours for the pros. And that's all we want as fans, right? We just want them to have to lean on their skills, even away from the golf swing.
Yeah, and so many good holes too. It felt like in every stretch there was at least one memorable hole, which obviously when you put it all together makes for a great golf course. And so I could see them. Obviously, everyone's clamoring for more golf in the Northeast. That was probably every single question from a local media member to players after their round. Like, would you like to see more Northeast? Yeah. And so, maybe like a BMW Championship or something like that, because obviously Truist is coming back here next year and it's going to be here for foreseeable future. So I think rotating Northeast courses, kind of like they do with Caves Valley this year, could be a fun way to maybe get Philly cricket involved if the members will allow it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing. I think that's something we probably don't talk enough about, is membership has to be okay with it. And if you're a member of a really, really nice golf course, it's like, I don't know if I want to give this up that much. I mean, I was when I lived in Arizona, I was a member at Phoenix Country Club. And when the Schwab started to come to our golf course, it's not a week, I mean, you're talking a lot of construction for a month or 2 months outside of the event, putting up grandstands. And this is for a Champions Tour event, right? This isn't obviously for the PGA Tour, but it's the back end, right? I mean, it's a golf course being in pristine shape, epic shape, and then having to move stuff out for 2 weeks. All that grass under grandstands is dead. If you're a member, how often do you want to do that? And I think for a place like Philly cricket, the answer is probably not a lot, but for fans, obviously, it was great. A couple things I wanted to mention before we move over to the PGA. I was shocked by the 3-putt from Lowry on 18, simply because he got to watch the first putt from Sepp. Sepp runs his by 3 feet. I know Lowry's probably thinking, I got to make this. But to run that, 8, 9 feet by was wild. I was not expecting to see that where it ended up.
I wasn't really shocked with how everything shook out for Lowry, because it seems like he and Trevor mentioned on the broadcast, and we talked about it last year during the Open when he was kind of running away from the field those first 2 days. He seems to notice like everything out on the golf course when he's in the mix, like one person moving, one person taking a picture, and like once something kind of throws him off a little bit, it like severely throws him off his game. And we saw that late with the bogey, what was it, 17? That was a really poor iron shot. And then the putt for, I had no confidence with him over it.
No.
And
didn't think it was going to go in at all.
Yeah. I think it was shocking how bad it was, to your point. Absolutely.
The first putt. Like the first putt was so bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. But yeah, I just thought he had no chance making that 20-footer. And it was just like, it's crazy how high his floor is. And I know he's won the BMW PGA Championship. Shout out to Queen Elizabeth, RIP, who was during that year. But no real individual wins since that Open, really.
Yeah. Producer Josh, I thought, made a great point in our little private chat. He said getting guys in places they aren't familiar with feels like the biggest takeaway. That combination of a really high-quality golf course, but the players not understanding the golf course and not obviously seeing it on a week-to-week basis. You know, the U.S. Open attempted to do this, right, with Chambers Bay and Aaron Hills. I think Aaron Hills played well. Chambers, obviously, one of the great U.S. Opens of all time. Granted, the golf course and the greens, they kind of lost there. But, putting the best in the world on these classic golf courses can be fun if the golf course plays the way they hope it plays. And I loved it. I thought it was a 10 out of 10. Shout out to PGA Tour. Shout out, I don't know, Truist. I guess. Shout out to Sepp. Again, another victory. Sepp's a monster. But we are on to the PGA. You are at Quail Hollow. It is Monday. It is around noon. And your text, I think, to us is, it is absolutely dumping here. How much rain are we talking?
I'm going to say by the end of the day, right before we started on air, it was pounding the media center. It was very loud. I'd say end of the day, it's kind of coming in waves, 2 inches we're going to get.
Wow.
And mind you, I'm down in South Carolina usually, but the bands kind of obviously go across the country in unison. It's been raining like the last week in the Carolinas also. So it's going to be a wet golf course because we're getting more tomorrow and we're getting more on Wednesday.
It's so cliche to say that, now that takes out half the field. Maybe that half the field wasn't really in play anyway at a golf course like Quail Hollow. But we've talked a lot about the anticipation for this PGA Championship. And obviously Rory getting a major, Scotty finally getting that win this season and playing great. Bryson's playing really solid golf. Kind of the characters you hope are there. And we're going to have Claire Rogers on a little bit later in the show to do our picks and who can win and who can't win and all that good stuff. This feels like now we're down to, 15 or 20 names when it's this saturated on a golf course that's going to play, quote unquote, this difficult in terms of major conditions. It feels like to me that you're talking about those 20 players. Like, can Colin Morikawa win on a golf course like this that's going to play this long? Like, it's hard for me to say yes to that, right? Can JT win on a golf course like this that's going to give an advantage to somebody like Rory who can take it over corners still and carry these bunkers and fly at 320 even when it doesn't roll more than a couple of yards? Like, to me, the number 1, 2, and 3 storylines almost feel like now they're bolded and italicized after all the weather that's coming in.
Yeah, there's a clear 1A, 1B, 1C, and then it's like everyone else, it seems like. And I'm glad you brought up Rory's carry distance because there are different ways to get to 325, right? You can run one out there, which we can see on firm and fast golf courses like we saw there at Philly Cricket Club when it dried up a little bit, or you can carry it all the way there. And there are only a handful of guys who can carry it all the way there. And at Quail Hollow, you're going to need to do that this week, especially with some of the bunkers. Like, think about 17. They added that new tee box last year, that par 4. Rory was carrying it.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it was like, why do we put it in? Like, we're good.
the point of the tee box was so guys couldn't carry that bunker. Rory's like, yeah, nice try. I think they added one new tee box. I haven't walked around. Maybe on number 9, I want to say. But when you add length, it only plays into the Rory,
Yep.
the Bryson, those guys' hands even more. And you add all the water that's on this golf course right now. And it seems like it's Rory, Bryson, and then Scotty, who Shane, I'm pretty interested to see if like his lack of course history, having never played here, like will it cost him a stroke or something across 4 rounds? And one stroke, that's the difference between coming in second and winning a major championship.
Patrick, it's such a weird time for Quail Hollow to be up in the major lineup, because if Rory hadn't, let's say Rory doesn't make the 3-footer in the playoff and Rose goes on to win, right? The last month and a half, the headlines and the storylines would have been dominated by, is this Rory's biggest choke? And I mean, and I think you nailed it on the show last week when you said you still need Rory to make that 5-footer, right, on Sunday in a major championship. Like, you still want to see that putt go in, because outside of the playoff putt, he didn't make a lot of putts, right? I mean, on Sunday in that second 9 around the Masters. And so for it to fall now, I do wonder for Rory, would this be a disappointment for him if he doesn't win, considering the way he's played this golf course, the way he's playing this season, and the conditions that Quail Hollow is going to be in? Like, if he finishes 4th, is the year already made because the Masters win? Or could you see Rory walking away from this going, how the hell did I not win that?
That's a great point, because everyone's talking about how this weight is off his shoulder. Obviously, you can hear it when he's talking. Obviously, with the Masters win and all that. I'm curious, like, what's this guy's first major like after achieving a lifelong dream?
Yep.
Is a little bit of the edge off, maybe? He said he's going to come in more calm, in a better headspace, obviously. But does that take away a little bit of the edge in the process too? That's what I'm curious about. And so I think we'll find out pretty early what Rory McIlroy will get. I mean, we're getting like minimum T7 probably with just how good he's playing. But if we're getting the badass, like FU type Rory McIlroy, I think we're going to find out pretty early in this championship. But I am curious, does that take a little bit of the edge off winning the Masters? I have no idea. It could be a floodgate situation. It could be maybe a little bit of a hangover.
Patrick, did you bring rain gear? Did you bring rain jacket, rain boots? Like, what's your situation for covering this golf tournament?
Yeah, this is a dire situation right now. I feel like my rain gear situation is not good in general. I have green.
Do we have a sponsor for this? Is anybody sponsoring this show? Can they get him some rain gear?
So you know how the pros wear all black or all navy. Yeah. Rory went Tanimal at Oak Hill, which was electric, or maybe that was Scotty too. They might have both gone Tanimal. I have green rain pants.
How green? Can you stand up and show us? Let's see them on camera. Oh, that's not that bad. That's a calm green. I thought you were thinking maybe electric green or something.
No, not that bad. But it's the color where if you wear them more than once, people are going to start asking questions. So that's my one concern right now, because I have gotten a little heat on the internet, Shane. People saying I only own a blue pair of slacks, which is not true. I just have multiple pairs of blue because I like the navy bottoms.
Yep.
So this isn't going to help my cause if the case. But rain gear, 0 restriction on top. Obviously, McDonald 20 at checkout.
Wow. Plug it right in there, baby. Hey, listen, if you can plug, you got to plug. That's the game we live in 2025. Patrick, if I was going to give you Rory, Scotty, Bryson, or everybody else, which side are you leaning?
I'm taking the 3 big dogs.
Okay.
I think we'll get into our picks. I'm going to go a little off the board, but yeah, that's like tannish, I think.
Yeah, that's animal.
It's hard just the way it's setting up. Scotty's all around game right now is so good. And then what Bryson has been doing in major championships in the U.S. Shane, he's had a chance to win 5 out of the last 6 in the U.S.
Yep.
Like, he's been there on Sunday. And then obviously Rory and his history at this place and playing great. So I'll take the big 3. What about you?
I would probably go big 3 as well. And I'm starting to talk myself into this Royal Troon, duel in the sun kind of situation where there's a huge separation between two of the three of those guys. And it's just them on Sunday, clear by 5, battling it out, final group. Like you're barely not even showing anybody else. Like maybe CBS puts Dottie and Colt like in the same pairing and they each have a player. But I think there's a real good chance that it's 4 or 5 shot lead for the both of, a Scotty Bryson, Rory Bryson situation. And, I think for golf, like Scotty and Rory would be great. But Rory Bryson, 3.0 within a year, you talk about setting narratives. I mean, golf loves narratives. We don't get a lot of them. We don't get to see these players going at it and on the biggest stages that often. But seeing them do it again, and it feels like, again, kind of going back to those three in the field, I don't think anybody out here is thinking one of those guys isn't going to play well. So I just think it would be so cool to see that happen once again, right?
Yeah. And look back to the Masters. They were 4 clear of Corey Connors, who was in third before it just hit the fan on Sunday and things just got weird. And I think the thing about like what happened with Live Golf and separating the talent is it obviously made major championships more important, but it's also made this rivalry, I think, better, because it'd be different if we saw Rory and Bryson go at it like every week on the PGA Tour. But knowing there's only a finite number of chances that we see these guys go toe to toe, head to head at their peak, it elevates that rivalry that they're currently going through right now, which obviously not great overall, but in this sense, it makes it a little bit better in my eyes.
So we're going to get to our picks in a little bit. As I mentioned, Claire Rogers is going to come on and give her picks as well. We had to force Claire to do 3 players that can't win. One of those players that she picked that's not going to win, rumor is a very popular figure around the PGA Championship. But let's jump in with Justin Ray. I think it's time to get some stats on the week, stats on Quail Hollow. Obviously, kind of focusing on some of the bigger names that we think will be made characters at this PGA Championship, and maybe some rain talk. Who knows? You never know what J Ray is going to bring, but I think it's stat time here on the show. Patrick, it is now time for 5 minutes with our man Justin Ray, 21st group. Does anybody know if these have been 5 minutes ever? I have no idea what our time has ever hit. Is it way under, way over?
What is time, Shane? What is time?
5 sounds great. I know what time it is, though. It is major championship time. Very anticipated PGA. Obviously, we've got Scotty coming off a win, Rory coming off the Masters, Bryson winning in South Korea. What do you got on some of those big names? We can start with our big boy Bryson.
Yeah, so the last 2 times he played at Quail Hollow, given it was 2018 and 2021, so it's been a minute, but he finished in the top 10 both years. And it's not just his power that led him to those great finishes. He putted out of his mind those 2 weeks. 1.75 strokes gained putting per round over those 8 rounds, which is crazy good.
Wow.
And the big number that stuck out to me was his make percentage from 10 to 15 feet those 2 weeks. So if you look at every tournament at Quail Hollow since 2018, players from that range make about 28, 29% of their putts from 10 to 15 feet. Bryson made 64%. If I was in the press tent, and you might be able to do, I just ask him, what do you see on these greens, man? And I know they've been done over the last couple of years. Yeah, exact 64% on putts from 10 to 15 feet his last 2 starts. I would love to hear if there's something in the feel of it, the what he sees. I have no idea, but that number floored me when I found it.
God, look, he's doing his work for him. Patrick's writing down notes right now.
Yeah,
get that percentage. Shout out Jay Ray. You got to say that in the presser. You got to say, have you Justin Ray, and just see if Bryson even says yes to that. I'm sure he will. That's great stuff.
Question via Justin Ray. Do you know who he is, by the way?
That's the question. That's all I got.
That's insane. Jay Ray, obviously, Quail Hollow has been dubbed Rory McIlroy Country Club this past week by many. Just how dominant has Rory been at Quail Hollow?
Yeah, Jordan Spieth won line when he said that. Since his debut in 2010, this is the most ridiculous number that I'm going to have here for Rory. Since Rory's debut in 2010, 102 under par at Quail Hollow. That is 55 shots better than any other player. Ricky Fowler is second at 47 under par in that span. And it's a comparable amount of rounds, too. I think it's 50 rounds for Rory and like 45 for Ricky. So, yeah, ridiculous. Another big number. He has gained 65 strokes off the tee in his career at Quail Hollow. 65. Second in that span, Johnny Vegas with 29.
65?
65.
I don't think I've ever heard
Ridiculous.
that number ever used in strokes gained anything.
No, it's not. That's not real. That's not a thing. It's. I said on another pod, it's Woodsian what he's done on this golf course. The chasm between him and everybody else. And this was probably the most interesting number to me because you figure, all right, Rory's going to dominate these par fives, right? It's key to success, whatever. But okay, you look at the list. He's first in par five scoring, 102 under par. Interestingly enough, the same number as the overall because he's even par on the rest of the holes, right? 102 under par. That's 30 shots better than anybody else on the par fives. But you look at the next three names on that list since 2010: Webb Simpson, Lucas Glover, and Phil Mickelson, right? Rory's 9 under on the par fours, okay? Those next three on the list on the par fours, 24 over, 43 over, 12 over. So that just gives you an idea that it's not just ripping apart the par fives with power. It's what he's able to do on those par fours, the high ball flight, the way he's able to spin it. It just all comes together on this golf course.
I mean, just wild. I mean, you hear this type of stuff and you think to yourself, how is he not winning this week? And obviously I know a lot can go into that, and we've seen him not win a lot of majors. But
did you hear the Bryson number?
Yeah, Bryson's making every putt from 10.
Bryson making every putt. Listen, J. Ray, you're leaning into what I said, where I think it could be a runaway between two players, and we'll see Troon 2.0 or something this week with a couple of the big boys. What about short game? Because I think this is a golf course we talk a lot about length off the tee, carrying bunkers, things like that. But what about short game in terms of how tough Quail Hollow can play around the greens?
I think it's underrated in terms of difficulty around the greens. If you look year in, year out, it's perennially, when it comes to scrambling difficulty on the PGA Tour, in that 10, 15, 20 range where it's tougher than average. But you look at the numbers of the 2017 PGA when they set it up for a major, the field only got up and down 48% of the time that week. And that was the toughest on the PGA Tour in 2017, about 11% lower getting up and down than the tour average that season. So that's a pretty stark difference. It also yielded the lowest greens in regulation rate of any course on tour. So that tells you everybody's going to be chipping. So it probably leans you away from the Victor Hovlands of the world, and maybe you lean in more towards a guy maybe like Patrick Reed, who finished second at here in 2017, where, look, if everybody's going to be missing some greens, it's going to be a little bit of a short game contest. You're going to have to scramble here to succeed.
Smart man, J. Ray. I love Patrick Reed this week. I am curious. We talked about how it was in August last time I was here. PGA's moved up to May. Kind of introduced different players who perform well in this golf tournament in particular. Is there one off the radar that maybe people aren't looking at this week?
This is a guy whose name I haven't heard, and he was a massive part of the story at Augusta National last month. The only player to finish in the top 15 at each of the last 5 PGA Championships. Justin Rose, the only guy to do it. Second in birdie average at the PGA since 2020, trailing only Bryson. Far and away the best putter on PGA Championships setups over that span. Across all majors since 22. I just feel like the guy is underrated in terms of how consistent he's been in these big events. 8th in strokes gained approach in that span. 4th in strokes gained putting. Hate the fact that he withdrew last week with what he called an illness, but
he shot like 79 too, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, so who knows how bad that's going to be lingering? But hey, maybe it's he's rest versus rust type situation where he's in full flight, ready to go. But Justin Rose, a guy who doesn't get talked about a whole lot going into these major championships, despite him consistently being a factor, as we saw at Augusta National.
J. Ray, do you do picks? Do you lean into a pick, or we never ask you for that on this show, but is there somebody that you feel like you're going to pick, or you have picked, maybe when you did the Ringer show or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm picking Bryson this week. I just think the combination of his power, the good form he's had, it's like he's figured something out going into these major championships. I love too that this is probably, with it being a PGA Tour event and all the shot link data going back 20 years, Bryson's got more information to tinker with, him and his team, than he'll have at any other major championship. It's not like an Open where there's not a lot of data and you're leaning on the weather or what have you. There's so much for him to dive into from a strategy perspective. And then I look back and that putting number is so obscene. Like the way he's putted on this golf course, if he is half of that, he is going to be a big factor this week. He's my pick to win.
Yeah, yep. I like Bryson a lot. I think he's got a really good chance to do it. Hopefully, he's in contention. Always fun. J. Ray, no chance that was 5 minutes. That had to have been 11 minutes. I mean, that felt like it was beefy and necessary
Beefy.
for this PGA. We
Major
always
league,
appreciate
baby.
the time.
Let it fly.
What do you got going? You're gonna be posting on Twitter. Obviously, everybody follows you on Twitter. What else you got going this week?
Right on. Also follow me at The Athletic. Big preview article goes up Wednesday, and then recap articles after every round.
Awesome.
Nice.
And I mean, they are full of information that you want to read and you need to know around these major championships. J. Ray, one of the best in the game. Thanks so much for your time, man.
Appreciate it, guys.
Patrick, we are joined by just a superstar of the golf space these days. Claire Rogers, golf.com, The Scoop, all the fun stuff and more along the lines of golf and social media. Claire, not going to Quail Hollow this year. You're taking this PGA off. Are you going to just couch it and are you just consuming via the TV and the streaming all day, every day?
Yeah. And I'm kind of excited. Like, I was bummed to not be going, but it's going to rain all week. So I think it's actually nicer in Boston than it is in Charlotte this week. So I'm all in. I actually haven't gone to the Open yet because I haven't had a passport in the past, but this year, this will hopefully be the only major that I miss.
Do you have a passport now or no?
I have a passport. Last year I had a wedding, so I couldn't go. The year before I didn't have a passport. So we're all set.
Not your wedding.
No.
You probably would have planned that out better if it was
exactly.
your wedding.
No major.
All right, so Claire, listen, here's how we kind of do this. So towards the end of every show, we power rank kind of our 5, favorites to win these major championships coming up. Patrick and I have been doing it weeks before the Masters. I think this maybe is this our 3rd for the PGA? Is that right?
At least.
At least
Wow.
3.
I get lost in the power rankings.
I get lost in the content, man. I'm always lost in the content. But we're going to do that. And then we do a fun segment that makes all of us look really smart or really stupid, where we do can win or can't win for the PGA. And then we've got a little Claire segment at the end, and I'm going to throw your way, and I think you're going to like it. But we always let the guests start. So we will start 5-1 in terms of power rankings for this PGA Championship. And Claire, we're going to let you start at number 5.
Xander.
And a reason.
Am I explaining? Okay.
I kind of like just the name.
Runner up at Quail Hollow.
Xander
in 2024, 2023, defending champ. I don't know if it's tonight he has that dinner, but I feel like that could get him, ready to go. What did he say? Like Wagyu beef or something? I feel good about Xander's chances this week.
The PGA dinner is so random.
It's weird.
So weird, man. The PGA's thrown a lot of this out there. Do you guys remember the long drive competition they had a few years ago? And that was an ode because Jack Nicklaus still uses his money clip apparently from when he won the long drive in like the 60s. And then Bubba wouldn't hit a driver. Bubba refused to participate.
Oh, I do remember this.
He hit like a 3-iron off the tee. It was like this like defiant Bubba during the defiant Bubba stage.
Wow. The first silent protest.
It was a little bit of a silent protest. All right, Xander number 5. Patrick, is Xander on your list?
He is. Xander's 4 for me because number 5 is I can't quit Patrick Reed. I rewatched that Starbucks video this morning of him getting a Trenta. I didn't know they had Trenta. I didn't know that was a thing at Starbucks.
Oh, they have Trenta.
We're massive. Wait, was he a sponsors invite?
Patrick Reed? How dare you play? No. He just finished like 3rd at the Masters. So
I actually don't know the answer to this. I mean, to Claire's point, how is he in the field?
I think he is.
I think he's got to be inside the top 100 in the world.
Yeah, you're right.
Off the top 3 at the Masters. But Trenta refresher, no inclusion, no water, strawberry. I have no idea what that is, but I'm buying that this week, and I'm buying Reed this week. So he's 5, and then I slotted Xander in at 4.
My 13-year-old sister gets this when I bring her to Starbucks.
Okay.
Not a Trenta. I don't let her get. I make her get like a tall, but that's what she gets.
Yeah, Trenta.
Not surprising.
Running around everywhere. What? Does she have any reviews on it?
She loves it, but she's not. I'm like, you're not old enough to drink coffee, so it's like what the middle school girls, the cool girls, drink it. So I have her get it, and I pretend that we're like, yeah. So Patrick Reed could fit in well.
I mean, so much of this is non-surprising. I will say, I'd love to know the Starbucks stock since they leaned into this, because anytime you go to Starbucks, there are 4 to 9, 12, 10 to 14 to 15-year-old girls there always getting kind of the sweet drinks. It almost feels like the modern day Sonic, for us older people. And I just wonder if the stock has just gone through the roof since they've kind of leaned into the sweeter drinks outside of just the simple coffees and things like that.
This needs to be like the new Arnold Palmer. Like they go on and they're like, "Oh, I'll have a Patrick Reed."
How dare you? How dare you, Claire? It might be though. It might be there.
I like
All
it.
right, so you've got P Reed at 5. A guy I can't quit here either. And again, this is probably just wanting it to happen, so I'm speaking it out there into existence. I got Jay Spieth at number 5 myself. Again, we know what's happening. I've been calling for it the year of the Slam. Let's just get them all done. We got to get Phil in the field at Oakmont. I don't know how he gets in there. Maybe he could lean into the Starbucks thing as well. Maybe he could get a Starbucks invite into the U.S. Open and then complete it there as well. But I got Spieth at 5 and playing some. I think solid golf is fair. Is that a fair way to put it? Would you say solid golf? Better than average, better than good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got Spieth. I'll keep it going. I'll roll into number 4. A man that has won a PGA at this golf course before, and a man that continues to play good golf, Justin Thomas, number 4 for me.
Okay, that's a good one. Claire, you got JT on yours?
Yes, number 4, same thing. Won in 2017. Shane, we're on the same page.
Love that. Patrick probably does not. I feel like he never puts Justin Thomas on this.
Yeah.
And the reason being is the major record, which is a great way. By the way, it's actually the most intelligent point on all of this is the fact that he's played very bad at majors in the last 4 years, but he's playing good golf.
There's something about JT I don't trust. Maybe the way he looks or something. Like the driver's not great, which I don't love, but the putter is awesome. So I have no idea what to do with that at all. So JT's number 6 on my list if we went that far, but he's not on my list.
All right. So did you go with your number 4?
Yeah, I put Xander out there after Claire.
Okay, and
I went 5-4.
So you got Reed, you got Xander. Claire, your number 3 is whom?
Scotty.
Whoa!
Is that low? That's pretty low, right?
Claire, hot take alert.
Because my 1 and 2s are just I think they have a better chance this week. So
I think we know you're 1 and 2, but wow, unbelievable! I love it.
Yes.
A little hot takey, but he's coming off a victory, takes the week off. He's probably drinking those refreshers. He's so refreshed right now.
Mm-hmm.
All the perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, goodness, number 3. Patrick, who's your 3?
I have Bryson at number 3.
Same for me.
The question I have with Bryson, obviously it's dumping here, which plays into his hands. Was his iron play in South Korea, which we all know, great correlation to Quail Hollow, that course in South Korea. Was that the outlier in his year, or is that the start of a trend, right? Because iron play hasn't been good for much of 2025. But if it's the start of the trend, I mean, he might boat race this field. But he's 3 for me.
3 for me as well. And so now brings up a very important question, because I think we all know all these names, right? We know who 1, 2, and 3 are going to be at this point. So Claire, I want to lean on you here because I want to know who your 2 is.
Bryson
2.
Yes.
2. I've got Rory 2, Patrick. I kind of did the same thing last week as well. Rory's 2 for me. You?
I have Scotty at 2.
Wow, we've all got different 3. I mean, that's kind of fun.
Yeah,
That's fun.
I do too.
Look at us.
We didn't even share this. Way to go, guys. I'm into it. So Scotty 1 for me. Some level of that. We've got Reed involved. We got Xander involved. We got JT involved. Who are we not? Who's not in the top 5 that maybe should be? Is there somebody that stands out to you guys that, if you slotted them in here, they'd be worthy of a spot? Sepp?
That feels
nothing.
generous.
Right.
Like Colin, Ludwig's been pretty uninspiring outside the Masters.
We'll get into that in a minute.
Okay.
I think maybe Colin.
Yeah.
Colin's probably the name. I think Colin's probably the name of if you weren't going to have him in here. All right. So since so you know what? We're mentioning a lot of names right now. And I've got a lot of these names. So Claire, we do a segment called Can Win and Can't Win, okay? And the idea of this segment is you want to fly as close to the sun as possible. So the idea is we pick 3 names that can win, we pick 3 names that can't win. The idea is for the can wins, you might be going favorites, which is totally fine. I think in the majors, it's a little easier to go favorites. For can't win, you can pick, Blocky if you want, who's probably not going to win. But the idea is you want to pick a top 20, 30, 40 player in the world that people are going to pick that you don't think is going to win. So that's kind of the idea of this segment. I think we lean a little heavier into the bigger names in these majors. Yeah. Patrick and I like to ruffle some feathers here. That's the idea.
Okay. Because I was like, I feel so mean. I was looking through it and I was like, that's so mean of me to pick someone who's not going to win.
You know what? It's not personal. I mean, if they do win, it's not
a motivator.
It's a motivation, bulletin board material. You know what? Like the Cleveland Cavaliers are not winning the NBA championship this year. Like that's not to say I don't like the team. It's just they're not going to do it. I mean, it's easy to say now that they're down 3-1.
We're really trying to help them out.
We're trying to give them, if nothing else, a little bit to lean on a Monday, PGA week. So, Patrick, I'm going to start with you here on who you have as your can win. Who do you think's going to win? I want 3 names: Wanamaker, Sunday night, Quail Hollow. Hopefully, it's not raining.
Okay, I don't want to give like the 3 names that everyone's thinking of. So, my can wins are Patrick Reed, obviously.
I didn't know you loved this guy so much.
Golly, big Reed guy.
Us Patricks have to stick together.
Fair.
You never mention Cantlay. I feel like you never lean into Cantlay.
Yeah,
You're
what's that
into
about?
Reed. It's rude.
Well, we'll talk about Cantlay.
Fishburne. I mean, who else we got? Let's go.
Fishburne. And then my third can win is going to be. I have no idea. Let's go with.
I like that you don't write these down. Like I write them all.
No, I'm watching the Myrtle Beach Classic right now too. So
it's a replay. It happened yesterday.
Don't tell me what happens. I heard the playoff was good. My last can win is going to be kind of out there. It's going to be Tommy Fleetwood.
Oh.
Or maybe Keegan Bradley. I'm going to sub. No, Tommy Fleetwood out. Keegan Bradley in.
All right. So who are your 3? I feel like you only mentioned 2.
Reed, Bradley, and Xander are my 3.
3. Okay. Reed. That's I mean, that's
it's an eclectic bunch.
Claire, I'm hoping yours are a little chalkier than that. That's out there. That's a pretty random group of 3.
All
I do
right,
like Keegan.
here's mine.
I do like the Keegan pick.
Yeah, Keegan's good. I like Keegan. 1 is obviously Rory. 2, Colin Morikawa. 3, Max Homa.
Whoa.
Oh.
Max is back, you guys.
Max
and he's
might
played
be
so
back.
well at Quail. Hasn't he won twice there?
He's won once. He's won once at Quail, but he's contended a decent amount, and he loves the golf course, obviously. Yeah, I mean, again, listen, would love to see it. Would just love to see him get in contention, play well again.
I would love to see it so much.
Yeah, I mean,
and then I want to give a shout out. Ben Griffin went to UNC. That'd be a fun thing, but we'll see.
Okay. Maybe you could put
shout out Ben Griffin.
It's more just a shout out.
Shout him out. Let's shout anybody else. Patrick, got somebody to shout out?
Sensation.
You want to shout anybody out?
Shout out to Harry Higgs right now.
Shout out Harry Higgs.
There you go.
I think he's going to win.
Shane, who's yours?
Goes back. By the way, goes back to the nickname draft we had on Harry Higgs, the big rig. I went a little chalk here. I think Patrick's going to hate these. I went Rory. Think he can win at Quail Hollow. Shockingly,
fair.
I went Scotty. Think he can win at Quail Hollow. Think he can win anywhere, but I need him to win a non-Augusta major this year. Mentioned that a lot. And then this one's a weird one to say is kind of off the radar, but it's a name I don't think you're going to hear a lot this week mentioned when people talk about this PGA potential to win. I think Brooks can win. I think the motivation coming off the Rory victory. Now I'm tied with the guy 5-5. This happened the last time he did it at Oak Hill. If you remember, he was just never mentioned. Nobody was talking about him. And then he went out there and did it against some of the best, biggest names at the time. They were playing some very good golf. So I got Brooks as one of my can wins this week at the PGA. Shout out Ben Griffin. All right, so
shout out Ben Griffin.
Shout him out. Let's shout him out every time we can.
Brooks just clipped you misspeaking, by the way, when you said can't win by accident. He just clipped that.
You know what? And that's fine. Again, that's the point of this. Even if he uses the can win as can't win motivation, that's good. Now, this is the fun stuff. Claire, I know you're really nice. This is who can't win, who is not going to win this week. And you got to also understand this. 99.9% of the field's not going to win. So really, you're just actually leaning into the numbers.
Okay. I don't have anything written down for this because I felt so mean to write this down.
Didn't want to put it
This
in
is
print.
this is my like I don't know what's the word when you're like, by the way, if you're seeing this and you're a player, I'm really sorry. Okay. I'm gonna put Brooks there.
Okay.
Oh,
Disclaimer. I know. And Brooks, if you see this, I'm so sorry. I don't know. I think that's kind of like a fun little hot take. He's not going to get it done, but I also think he likes to hear people say that. So maybe it's a little bit of like,
100% agree.
yeah. 2 is Michael Block, but I want him to get another hole in one this week.
Okay.
Didn't he? Yeah, he did that at Oak Hill, right? I think that'd
Yeah,
be,
is that-
you know,
Maybe
yeah.
17. Maybe he makes an ace on 17 on Friday to make the
Mhm.
cut.
Is
What if he
this
does
his third
that?
straight PGA?
Yeah, because he
Oh my
qualified
God.
into last year from the finish at Oak Hill, and then he goes through the PGA Professional this year.
Okay.
third to not win.
I do like
Hmm.
Blocky to not win. You know what? Let's clip
You're
that.
picking
Hey, Josh,
Michael
clip
Block.
that. Post it on every channel. That Claire said
He's
Blocky's
going to
not gonna
cancel
win.
me. I'm like
Let's
scrolling
tag
through the
Blocky
field
in
now.
it.
Shane's describing what we do. He's like, yeah, top 30, 40 players, Michael Block.
Okay,
Yeah.
Robert McIntyre is 3, and I'll tell you why. I want his first win to be his first major win to be the Open Championship, not
I
the
love
PGA.
that. I love that. See, that's a nice way to throw 3 names out there that are not going to win. Patrick and I,
Yeah.
not as nice. Patrick, who's not winning?
All right, let's go through this odds.
By the way, it's so
John,
funny you scroll through it. I love it.
John Rahm, see you next year, bud. You're not
On my
gonna win.
list. On my list.
Uh,
Not winning. John Rahm.
I forgot about him.
Ludwig Ober.
Ooh.
God,
Not
Patrick,
feeling it.
on my list.
Not I don't.
2
I
for
don't like
2
how
on my list.
we're so simpatico these
God,
past
we do
few
this
weeks.
all the time. That's
Usually
2
not
out
a
of
good
2.
thing for us either.
Listen,
Usually
before
not a
you
good
say the
thing.
third name, if Vegas, if it was a book right here next to me, I
Mhm.
would put $200 on you saying the same name I have third here. That's how confident I am in who you're going to say.
I don't think so because you like this guy, and I just can't. I can't get there with him for whatever reason. Justin Thomas is not going to win. This
Okay,
week.
that's not who
Ooh.
I had. Not who I had.
Not going to happen for him. Why? It's just not.
Just
It's a good
I don't-
explanation.
I don't like the aura around here for JT. Bad,
All right.
bad
Wow,
juju.
good word.
He's never played well here
Yeah.
before, especially.
But he
never
likes it for
Patrick.
Patrick Reed, which I love.
That's a great point. Well, maybe you know what? Do me a favor as we're doing this. See how close the closest Starbucks is to Quail Hollow. Is there one like within 4 miles, or is it are we talking a 25-minute round trip situation? I think that's
gotta
very
be
close.
There's a guy one across the street from the hotel, so
Ooh.
I could always bring him to him if
A
needed.
couple of refreshers, yeah, double Trent.
Yeah.
What
So
is
just
that?
bring
What is
2
40
every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is 40 in Italian? All right, I got my third was Cantlay. He's not winning.
Mm.
I got Ludwig, I got Rahm, I got Cantlay, not winning. Claire, this is the part where you tell us who's going to win. Who is winning the 2025 PGA Championship?
Drum roll, Rory McIlroy.
Rory McIlroy. Shocking. Not a lot of people going to pick him.
It's a
Off
super
the
hot
board,
take. I
a
know.
Dark
little
horse.
off the board.
Dark horse.
Patrick, mine's pretty far off the board as well. I'm going to go Bryson. I think is going to win.
Okay.
As I said, I think he might win by 6. If he wins
Wow.
by 6 or more, would not surprise me in the least if he blows the field away.
Okay, 6 or more. You're buying the refreshers.
I'm on.
Trent's
I'll buy
up,
him.
by the
I'll buy him
Or
either way.
Trent T.
Buy him either way.
My pick to win. You're giving me Scotty, just like that. I think that's too easy.
I mean, you got
But
to
I
take
know he-
Reed. You got to take Reed.
Yeah.
Said his name 12 times here.
No,
Josh,
but
by the way,
we do
producer-
long shots, right?
Producer Josh said there's a Starbucks 1.3 miles from Quail. He just looked it
Yeah.
up. I mean,
No one
you
else
can
needs
walk
to show
that.
up now. It's
Pick 'em.
over.
Pick them. 2 majors.
My pick to win is Patrick Reed. He is your
God, I love it.
2025 PGA champ. We talked about JT's good form here, how that's not going to translate for him, unfortunately, for whatever reason. Runner up in that PGA, Patrick Reed. So
Dunks it at
Throws her
17 at
on.
Augusta. Is gonna dunk on him this week. I love it.
Yep.
Is there a sleeper? Patrick, you got a sleeper this week?
yeah, my sleeper is going to be Keegan Bradley.
Okay.
I think,
Claire, you got one?
Yeah, but I always kind of struggle with the term sleeper. Like, is
I agree.
Joaquin a sleeper?
I mean, he's never had a top 10 in a major. I think it's fair to say he's a sleeper, even though maybe
Okay.
his odds
We'll
are a
give
little
it to you.
higher. I think it's totally
Yeah.
fair.
Okay, he's mine.
I'll go Mav McNeely as my sleeper this week.
Ooh.
Would love to see him he's playing some solid golf. Claire, last thing before you go, because I always love chatting with you and coming up with weird, random ideas, since that's kind of the way you and I's brain works.
Yes.
What's the funniest scenario come Sunday?
Okay.
It can be really anything. Like it could be winner,
this is
it could
not
be final group.
Yes, this is not really a scenario as well. I guess it is kind of a scenario. We've gotten to the point where Scotty is joking about the arrest. Like there was a little bit of time there where it wasn't funny. He had some trauma to work through. We need some sort of nod to that on Friday or Saturday at the PGA. Like, I don't know if he's the player who would do something with the outfit, like a ripped pair of pants, but I could see something on the bag, like a head cover, something that kind of shouts out the Louisville Police Department. And it would be like under the radar, like maybe Getty Images would pick it up and we wouldn't see it immediately, but just something kind of funny that shows like, yeah, he's over it and can joke about it now.
Claire, what if he's leading Go Sunday and he went full Ricky? Just full orange shirt, hat, pants. Like I'm sure Josh can throw up the maybe the most obnoxious of all the Ricky outfits over the years, when it's like when he was young and he had the long hair and it was just all orange. But you'd probably lean too heavily into that, but that'd be a good one.
Or maybe just like switch to an orange hat as he's coming up 18. Like there are a lot of options here. And again, it's kind of against, I've never seen like Nike dress someone in orange. First of all, they're like, this is not our thing. But there's a lot of, and I think people would be like, oh, he's funny if he did that. So that's what I want to see.
Maybe there's a celebration. Maybe like he makes a birdie and Ted like locks him in or something, you know?
Oh my gosh.
Like the birdie celebration. Yeah.
Like a touchdown thing.
Yeah. This is why I wanted to do this with you. It's a really good idea. And honestly, I think there's a 0% chance something like this would happen, whether it be a head cover, something as easy or a towel. Yeah, look at that.
Yes,
Even
the
Puka necklace.
Wow.
God, I had so many of those necklaces in college, guys.
No way.
Oh, so many. I mean,
you still have them?
Honestly, they're probably next time I go to my
parents'
house, I'll text you a picture. I would be shocked if they aren't hanging in the same place in my childhood bedroom as they were when I was 19 years old. But yeah, I mean Abercrombie, all day, every day, spending way too much money. Yeah, there you go. Patrick, what's the funniest scenario? What's your funniest scenario?
For me, it's if this golf tournament gets rained out and we have to move it to August, like the original PGA Championship, which we might be trending to, honestly, at this rate. It's a great flood out here. So that's one. And then a little bonus would be Blocky, kind of where he was a couple years ago in contention, but with Jordan Spieth this time on Sunday instead of Rory.
Ooh, I like that. That's pretty good. Yeah. Mine. I wrote this down, by the way, which is kind of sad to say. Bryson on 18 green has a putt to win, and with an ode to the late Arnold Palmer, because Bryson loves historical figures. The putt's tracking, and he throws his putter in the air like Arnie used to throw the hat in the air. But Bryson's putter's heavy, weighs a lot. The putt lips out. Putter hits him in his head. Hits Bryson right on his noggin. Okay? Kind of shakes him up a little bit. And because of the mild concussion he receives from his putter throw, signs an incorrect scorecard. Ends up losing the PGA. Misses out on the playoff.
No.
Damn.
Be crazy.
Wow.
There you go. That would just be a really rough
Could
way
see
to
it
go.
Happening.
It really feels like I feel like it will happen. It's likely. Hey Patrick, if you're going to power rank which of these scenarios are likely to happen, at least likely, are you going Claire, you, me, or are you going you, Claire, me?
I think Claire's is the most likely. Maybe like the back the blue type of flag on the on the bag or something, or the
The
hat.
head cover would be pretty. The head cover.
Yeah.
The putter or something would be perfect.
Yeah, I think there's. I mean,
Shane, you and I, we have no chance. At
yeah, I mean,
happening.
I mean, I'm not to say Bryson won't throw his putter if he makes a putt, but he's probably smart enough to kind of get. Hey, ho.
Yeah.
Claire, this is, by the way, this is the show we do. So
I love it. Thank you so much for inviting me.
This is what we do. This is basically Patrick and I. Patrick, normally I'd say equally as animated, whether he's at home or he's in the media center at Quail Hollow. By the way. This is what he brings every time.
I don't know what that means. I'm going to take that as a compliment.
It was meant to be a compliment.
Okay,
it was meant to be a compliment.
Cool.
Claire, what all right, listen, I know people know if they're watching this, they're following you, but do you want to point people to anything specific? Read, watch, follow, comment. What do you got?
Comment on my Instagrams. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. You can golf.com. The Scoop is on YouTube, where I eat ice cream with players. I write the Rogers Report, and yeah, that's kind of it, I think. Can you
give us your favorite? If somebody's never seen it, what's your favorite Scoop episode ever? No offense to all the other ones, but is there one that really stands out to you? I
loved the one with Michael Greller, just because I don't think people know him. Like, we know a little bit about Michael Greller, but he's such a great guy, and I think it's representative of like a ton of the caddies, right, who have so much golf knowledge that we don't get to hear. We hear from the players every week in the press center, but that was one I really liked. And it was funny, he forgot his sunglasses that day, and I had a pair in my bag, so he wore my sunglasses. If you look, they're like really small on his face, but he was great.
PGA Championship winning caddy this week, Michael Greller.
Yeah.
We all can pray and hope. Claire, thank you so much. Patrick, as always, 2 thumbs up, even though I'm only giving you one there on screen. I don't think I can fit both on my little mini screen. Excited to kind of follow along. I head your way tomorrow. And then, it'll be PGA week, and we're excited about it. This is kind of the time it all starts to rock and roll in terms of major championship golf. So hopefully somebody on our list wins, contends, scenario happens. That is this week's Golf on CBS preview show.